Hello, welcome to Needs of the Patient. In this presentation, we will evaluate the holistic needs of the patient, identify responses concerning the needs of a specific patient population, and appraise the needs of susceptible populations. The definition of holistic is when something is characterized by the belief that the parts of something are interconnected and can be explained only by reference to the whole. In other words, when considering the holistic needs of a patient in healthcare, it is important that we assess all areas of the patient's life and not just their physical health. Evaluating the holistic needs of a patient includes the connection of the mind, body, and soul. Thinking about this connection reminds us of the work done by Abraham Maslow in 1968. Maslow created a model of human development in the shape of a pyramid. The pyramid shape shows stages of human development that require the bottom stages be met before reaching the top. So let's take a look at the individual stages. The most basic need for humans are physiological needs. This is food, water, oxygen, temperature regulation, the most basic components to sustain life. Before moving to the second level, this level must be maintained. The next level is safety. These needs refer to the individual's perception that the environment is safe. Next, love and belonging. These are social needs that require people be cared for and know how to care for others. Esteem. This refers to the positive evaluation of oneself. It is a need to be respected and to respect others. Finally, self-actualization. The individual's need to fulfill a purpose. Now, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is important to us in healthcare because we are dealing with patients whose most important needs are at risk. A patient who enters the hospital relies on us to meet their most basic physiological needs. They are unable to do this for themselves, so we offer food, water, etc. Patients are also looking to us to make them feel safe. They are remarkably vulnerable while in the hospital. Making sure a patient does not fall is an excellent example of patient safety. The love and belonging needs of the patient require us to show the patient we care. Holding a patient's hand, offering a warm blanket, or even a simple smile will show the patients we care. When it comes to the higher level needs of the patient, it is important to remember what we learned during our initial discussion about ethical considerations in healthcare. We all have a unique value system that is extremely important to us as individuals. These value systems are an important part of one's culture. To assure we are meeting the patient's higher level needs, such as esteem and self-actualization, it becomes very important that you show your patients that you respect their values and culture, even if they differ from your own. Cultural awareness is the ability to first understand our own values and how they shape our decisions and behavior, which we did earlier in the course. Then we must step back, recognize and respect that others have different values that affect their decisions and behaviors. There are many examples of how culture influences patients' responses to illness and treatment. In Morocco, family members would not ever consider leaving a sick relative alone in a hospital room. So the notion of visiting hours, which is very normal for us, may be completely foreign to people within this culture. Orthodox and Hasidic Jews can require healthcare professionals and patients not to make physical contact across gender lines. Jehovah's Witnesses may decline the transfusion of whole blood or blood components. This choice is not due to a perceived risk, but is based on the interpretation of biblical texts. Patients may refuse to have life-saving surgery due to the belief, and it is our responsibility to respect this decision. There are also dietary customs from various cultures. For example, kosher, halal, and vegetarian menus may be required. So how do we help patients to the best of our ability? First, we must establish clear communication. Make sure you know your patient's preferred method of communicating. This could be a different language, whether it's English, Spanish, or sign language, and arrange professional interpretation if necessary. Be aware of nonverbal cues without jumping to conclusions. Nonverbal communication can convey a lot of critical information, but it may differ dramatically across cultures. Don't make any assumptions without knowing the person's customs. Consider the okay sign. This can be a positive symbol that you are okay, unless you're in France or Belgium, when it might mean zero or worthless. Or in Brazil, Germany, Russia, Tunisia, Greece, and the Middle East, it is a cruel insult. Ask openly about potentially relevant traditions and customs. This includes exploring potential spiritual and religious practices, dietary considerations, and cultural norms that may be particularly important to the patient's clinical situation. Something you could say might be, a lot of my patients have customs or practices that are important for me to know about, so I can make sure to give you the best possible care. Finally, examine your own biases. We all have unconscious biases and prejudices that impact our relationships with patients. Identifying and understanding these biases will help control them, which is essential to achieving cultural awareness. Now that we understand the importance of looking at each patient holistically, it is important to also recognize specific needs of certain patient populations. While reading through the list of specific populations, I ask you to think specifically about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and what might be of particular concern when caring for these particular patients. For example, pediatrics are patients between birth and the age of 18. These patients will probably be more scared. Therefore, safety should be of particular concern and an area of focus to the patient and family. Other special populations include patients who are obese, diabetic, pregnant, immunocompromised, physically challenged or sensory impaired, patients in isolation, geriatric patients, patients with substance abuse, traumatic injuries, or post-traumatic stress disorder. Remember, working in healthcare means that you have committed to the care of others. To do this correctly, you must think holistically and consider the individual needs of each and every patient.